roll in pretty quick, and then I'll work on getting us live. Get us for a second. Hold on for a second. Wait till the live comes on.
I love that.
And it looks like people are starting to roll in real quick. Everything. I'm going to make you a co-host, Roz, so you can also talk. Give me 1 second while we get this live stream set up. Everyone hopping in. Roz, why don't you just say hi to everyone from, you're in Miami right now? Or?
I am in Miami. I'm downtown Miami off of Brickell Avenue. So any South Florida people here, there's the U.S. Cannabis Conference and Expo happening today, tomorrow, and Sunday. So I'm here. We had an event last night. It was called the DICE Networking Mixer. DICE stands for Diversity in Cannabis Experience. And long story short, it's just a way for us to be able to have individuals of color get together and talk about, what's going on in the industry, what opportunities are presented. My organization puts these on throughout the country. I'm with Minorities for Medical Marijuana, if you don't know. Wonderful. Thank you to Dr. Boyce Watkins Enterprises for having me a part of their platform and talking to you guys today. So I'm excited.
No, that's great. We're happy to have you. I think everyone on is pretty excited. I just wanted to welcome everyone. We've got an exclusive, Jarvis Green Rush briefing, sponsored through Boyce Watkins Enterprises and the Black Business School and ROZ's organization, Minorities for Medical Marijuana. Before we get into our open Q&A, I wanted just to spend a few minutes talking about the medical and the biotech applications of what's going on with cannabis. And I think it's important to know because many people out there, we all look at cannabis thinking, oh, let's get into this because it's all about getting high, right? It's the next cigarettes or the next alcohol. And I mean, I personally believe it's pretty important. So before that, I've got Roz McCarthy. Roz is the founder and CEO of Minorities for Medical Marijuana. How you doing today, Roz?
I'm awesome. Thanks so much, Charles.
No, great. So today, Roz, let's talk a little bit about, how can we create generational wealth in this green rush and by following, these biotech trends. So you ready for this?
I'm ready. Go for it.
Great. So let's talk about it. Why don't you talk a little bit about what's going on right now with the cannabidiol-based drugs or medical marijuana. You want to maybe take a few minutes and talk about the trends?
The trends, the things that we're seeing right now is, there's a difference between people. Sometimes I had a guy ask me yesterday, he goes, well, what's the difference between medical marijuana and just regular marijuana? And so I explained to him that the differences are the same plant, but it's just in regards to strains that are being grown. There's a lot of interest and a lot of scientists are working on different strains that are affecting different disease processes. So if you have cancer or if you have epilepsy or MS, they're being able to really target and understand how to grow these plants in order to be very specific to be able to support the needs of patients that have MS or who have cancer. And so one thing that we're seeing is, if you don't know about CBD, CBD is a cannabidiol. It's found in the cannabis plant, but it's also found in a hemp plant. Your hemp plant is a kissing cousin to the cannabis plant. And in the U.S. total, CBD derived from hemp is legal. So you do not have to have a medical marijuana card in order to be able to take in CBD from hemp. Hemp is a great plant, has great medical efficacy, but it does not have the THC in it that causes that euphoria feeling. It causes that high. So the good thing about this is that the science behind trying to understand exactly what medical conditions who are in need of the plant, what things would work well for those conditions. That's what a lot of people are really focused on right now, and being able to understand what type of delivery mode. So you can smoke, you can have suppository, you can have tinctures, which means drops under your tongue. You can vape. And so a lot of science is behind how do you take and be able to have a nice concentrated amount of the plant so that when you're intaking, that it's being able to have a great effect on someone's, quality of life. You there? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. I had a connection. Wow, yeah, that is definitely quite amazing to hear from. And before we jump into the Q&A, let's talk about some housekeeping things. But first, if you have a question for Roz, again, Roz is the president and CEO of Minorities for Medical Marijuana. If there's anyone that knows anything or anybody in the industry, Roz is your person. What we're doing is if you can raise your hand as an attendee, we will have you on live, audio, not video. We'll have you on live, or if you want to be on video, we can add you on to the video, and we'll do our Q&A. So, wow, that's actually pretty great. And you want to maybe talk a little bit about the event that happened last night and
Yeah,
where the show you're at and what's going on while
we
people are
did.
just getting
We,
set up?
we're down here in South Florida. We're in Fort Lauderdale. Well, I'm in Miami right now, but we were in Fort Lauderdale last night. And the event is called DICE Networking Mixer. DICE stands for Diversity in Cannabis Experience. And long story short, it's our way of getting, Black businesses together, consumers together, people that are coming from the Black and brown community to talk about, legislation, public policy, what's happening in your state regarding legalization, and also from an economic standpoint, social justice, as well as public policy standpoint. We had and what we try to do is we try to book it out in a Black-owned venue because we believe in recycling our dollars. So the venue was NYSW Jazz Lounge, a Black-owned venue. Awesome, shout out to Miguel and his team over there. We had free food. We had, happy hour drinks. But after everything was done with socializing, we really got down to the business of talking and being able to have some conversation about what's going on in the state of Florida. So M for MM, Minorities for Medical Marijuana, we have state chapters, 20 different chapters throughout the country. So if you want to find out where your chapter is, or if you want to get connected with us, you go to www.m4mmunited.org and you'll find the information. But I will tell you this, it was beautiful to see people there asking great questions, trying to get engaged, and realizing that we cannot stand on the sidelines. And we did it in partnership with the Black Chamber of Commerce for Broward County.
Wow, great. Well, let's get started. It looks like Dorothy Baker has her hand raised. And if you've got a question about the cannabis industry that you'd like to ask Roz, please raise your hand. I'm going to click on the allowed to talk, and let's see if we can get Dorothy unmuted and on the line.
Hi, Dorothy.
Can we hear her? Hold on. Looks like, Dorothy, you might be muted right now. Oh,
Hi,
there we go.
Hi, Dorothy. How are you, love?
Okay, I'm a little late getting into the session.
That's
but
okay.
I really appreciate you doing so. I'm gonna what you're doing. I'm gonna ask for a replay of this. I'm a clinical social worker by profession.
Okay.
And I'm retired, and I'm interested in the medical aspect of marijuana for healing and
yes,
treatment.
ma'am.
And also, I'm interested in the investment side of marijuana.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm looking for information as to pharmaceutical companies that we can begin to invest in that's going to be manufacturing this product for medical treatment.
Yes, ma'am.
You
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
list of names that we can survey and kind of look at to see if we want to consider what companies for investment. I'm familiar with the bigger one, GW Pharmaceutical, but I know there's going to be more than GW. So if you could help me with send me a list, put a list when you're doing a workshop, that would be very helpful.
Yes, ma'am. We did a workshop about, I want to say about 6 months ago. I have a board member. His name is Derwin Wallace, a good friend of mine and a great board member for the organization. He creates a magazine. It's an online magazine called Canna, C-A-N-N-A, Investor Mag, MAG.com.
Say that again.
And, you can go to his website and you can get back issues. It's free of charge. And we actually did a webinar just on how to invest, where to get started, talking about the fact that, on the NASDAQ, the stock exchange here in the US, you're not going to find companies that are touching plant. Okay, so what I mean by touching plant is they're cultivating, they're manufacturing, because it's federally still illegal.
Right.
So he explains really well about the Canadian stock exchange and how there's some strong Canadian companies. There's a company called Tilray, Tillray, just went public about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Started out with their IPO, and I think they raised almost $1 billion, just if I'm not mistaken. But they're out of Canada. There's a company called Aurora, AURORA.
I'm familiar with them.
They are publicly traded, but it's on the Canadian market.
Okay.
So these are called OTC.
Okay.
You know, and so what I would do is, because I am not someone, and you know what, I tell you one thing about it is, what I know, and what I don't know, I go find experts who know the stuff for you. But what we can do is, I want to work, and we will see with the Green Rush team, with the Jarvis Project, about getting someone specifically doing a CannaTalk with ROZ time that talks about where you can find stock information. But start with CannaInvestorMag.com.
Say that again. I can't hear the name.
Okay, it's Canna,
C-A-N-N-A.
C-A-N-N-A. Investor, I-N-V-E-S-T-O-R. Mag, M-A-G.
Okay.
.com.
All right, thank you.
Okay, but tell me, what state are you in, Dorothy?
I'm in Alabama.
You in Alabama? Okay, now, Dorothy, listen. You know, Alabama, y'all might be a little slow in getting everything that you need there.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Roz froze or
She
something.
did. She froze.
Okay, well, we'll wait for a second for her. But while we're waiting for her, one thing too, Dorothy, are you a member of the Black Business School,
Yeah,
or are you just?
I joined the class. I'm in the class with Dr.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, okay. Now, if you joined the class and if you look at the opportunities that are on there, one of the initial 6 is also a biotech company. Have you had a chance to look at that one?
No, what is it?
If you log in, it's called, I forget the name of it, but if you log into the portal, you know, because when you get in the class, there's actually a bunch of research reports. There's 6 opportunities, and then we're releasing 2 more as a bonus in the space to kind of give you a little bit of everything. And you mentioned GW Pharmaceuticals. That's one of them. But this is another one, and they're in, I think, stage 3 trials for a drug called linabase. Yeah, it's some drug for sickle cell and some type of, they have a company too. And again, I'm not the expert on that, but I know it's in there. So if you log into your portal and look at the picks that are out there, there's actually 6 of them there. All of them have research reports. So you probably heard about, you know, IIPR and Kush and Dash. And then there's 3 more in there that, and one of them is another biotech cannabis company that I believe is at a fairly reasonable price. And one of the things about the program is that I think on the schedule, I have to talk to Dr. Boyce about the scheduling, but we'll be releasing also kind of a Canada Investing 102 for people who want to invest more and learn more, where we'll be releasing, you know, on a monthly basis, a, you know, recommended cannabis investment opportunity. Some of these may be publicly traded stocks. Some of these may be, you know, things that are all not growing the plant, but that don't touch the plant, but are around on the whole ecosystem. So check that out. Also, check out Canada Investor. That's a good thing. And yeah, Dorothy, just take a second to log into the portal. If you have questions.
What would be the name of that, under that portal? What would that portal be named?
The class is, it's you go to the blackbusinessschool.com and you log in, and the class is Canada Investing 101. And one of the first things you'll see on that class is, you know, the actual 6 research reports, and then there's 2 more that are coming out probably next week. So it's just an unadvertised bonus. And if you didn't see that, which is fine, if you actually check, if you just look through those 6, it's, I think, the 4th or the 5th one. I don't remember off the top of my head. If you also look at your email, it'll give you instructions on how to access it. And obviously you got the email because you registered for this class, which came out through email.
Those other three invested. I want to get in on those things.
Yeah, you should definitely check that out. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email support@theblackbusinessschool.com and they can help you out. It's just, we don't have, that's not my area of expertise.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Well, hey,
Miss Dorothy, you keep going. I like the fact that you're doing this with homework and keep going. And Canna Investor Mag has a great. They'll give you a lot of insight on the companies versus just having their name. They'll talk about what they're working on. So that's another support for you. Okay.
And how can I get in touch with you? How can I stay in touch with you, young lady?
You can always email me at ROZ and we'll get that information to you. So if there's any questions after we're done and you want to just have an email, being able to have a conversation with me, we'll make sure that we get that on Dr. Boyce's platform as well, so that you have that access as well, if that's okay.
Okay, that's good. I was just trying to make sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, my love.
Okay.
Well, we have Daniel Matry up next.
Hi, Daniel.
Hold on, let's see. I just clicked allow to talk and we're waiting for a second. Hopefully he gets unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Daniel, you there?
I think so. Can you
Hey,
hear me?
how are you?
I'm doing fine, Roz. How are you?
I'm good. Where you located?
I'm in Miami, Florida.
Oh man, you gotta come. You know what? You gotta come down to the conference this weekend.
That's why I'm tuning in. I need some information on it.
All right, we have to. I tell you what, Daniel Matry, you just got a comp ticket down, so we get your email address. Make sure that afterwards we get your email address, and I got a comp ticket for you to come down this weekend to the conference. So, what's your question for me?
I just wanted to know where you would be. I'm in Miami. I went down. I hung out with Rashida and over in DC for the cannabis festival.
Yes.
And I'm pretty invested now in some cannabis companies.
Okay.
So I definitely need to stay close to you.
Okay. Well, let me tell you something. You need to, and everybody that's listening, these cannabis conferences that happen throughout the country, there's one coming up in Oakland in October. There's one coming up in Los Angeles in September. There's one coming up in Boston in October. There's one coming up in Phoenix in September. If you go to our website, we have those conferences there for you as well. But long story short, what we try to do is whenever I'm speaking at those conferences or whenever I'm participating, I make sure that I get some comp tickets, because what I want to do is be able to create giveaways and opportunities so that you don't have to pay $399 or $299 out of your pocket to go for your first time. But whenever you can go, I tell you, if you go to the conference, it will be an eye-opener. It's great education, great workshops, and on top of that, the exhibit hall with all the exhibitors, if you want to get into a business, say for example, you want to start a business in the industry, you don't want to cultivate, say if you want to do possibly, let's say packaging. Well, they have wholesale packaging companies there looking for you to show you how to get into the business so that you can go out and get contracts and package and do packaging for these dispensaries. So it's so much really good information. This cat right here, this is one of the companies in Florida. They are a medical marijuana treatment center in Florida, Truly. They were our sponsor last night. But these are the people that you want to talk to about partnering and about working with them. And they're always at these conferences.
Wow. And hey, Roz, what's that ticket? You said the ticket you're giving away is $399?
Yeah, it's $299. But for Mr. Daniel, if you're in Miami, I got you, brother. I want you to come down. We'll have a booth there Saturday and Sunday. Daniel, we just need to get your email address.
Yeah, wow,
okay,
that's awesome.
Okay,
so
Daniel, are you ready?
Yeah, no, don't do, just what you should do, Daniel, if you chat it to all panelists, so you know the world doesn't see your email address. So just go in the chat and type in your email address, and then I'll make sure Roz gets that, and we get in touch with you for that.
That's right, and I can't wait. And make sure you come see me and introduce yourself, brother. But you know what? Stay connected. Sometimes if you're trying to figure your way through what's going on in the industry, following people, following Dashid is a great influencer in the industry. Find some folks who are doing great things that you can follow and see what they're doing. Follow their blogs. Go to High Times, go to Dope Magazine, read what's happening, but attend these conferences. You'll see that you'll get a lot of information and you'll be ahead of the curve.
Okay, now what do you need from me now as far as my email address?
Yeah, just type it in the chat, but type it to all panelists instead of all. There's an option when you type, you can go to all panelists or all panelists and attendees, just because you probably don't want to expose your email address to the world, you know.
Okay, so hit all panelists or not?
Yeah, no, hit all panelists and just type it in, and then just only Roz and myself will see it, and then get that information. And Roz will follow up with you after the fact on that. It's
Okay,
just,
great.
I mean, you could do the all panelists and attendees, but I mean, there's a bunch of people on here, and the last
Right.
thing you can do is give your email address to everybody.
Okay.
Great.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Daniel.
Thank you.
Definitely. So for everyone tuning in, this is Charles and Roz here with CannaTalk with Roz. Roz is the founder and CEO for Minorities for Medical Marijuana. And what we have going on is an open AMA. It's just basically ask me anything or ask Roz anything. I don't really have anything to say. So if you are interested with a question, all you need to do is raise your hand and we will have you up next. So we now have Libra Hampton, who is going to be coming on next. Hold on, Libra. I clicked allow to talk. Hold on.
Hi, Libra. Are you there? Libra?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, I can. How are you, love?
Hi, how are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Where are you located?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
You're in Brooklyn, New York.
Yes.
Welcome, welcome. What's on your mind today? What's your question?
My question to you, Roz, is I want to get where you're at as far as being knowledgeable about the industry, and
Yes, ma'am.
I want to educate myself on the medical benefits of
Yes.
the plant.
Yes.
And cultivating and manufacturing, and I just would like to know, where would I start? Where would I begin?
Okay. So for the consumer side, for the medical side, let's say, for example, you were interested in doing education or interested in sharing with folks about how to get your card and understanding what conditions are appropriate for a card. What I would do is I would pull, if you Google like New York, the state of New York medical marijuana program, it's going to tell you what those medical conditions, that are allowable to get a medical marijuana card. Not only that, it's going to tell you exactly who can make a recommendation for you to get your card. So I think in New York, it has to be a physician, but it can also be a nurse practitioner. 3, it's going to tell you who are the physicians and where these nurse practitioners are. There should be a downloaded list that you can download, and you'll be able to pull out the names and the phone numbers of the folks that can recommend a medical marijuana card. So, and those are the individuals that, like, if you need a card or if you want to have that information. But first, from a consumer standpoint, from a healthcare standpoint, to know which medical conditions that are legal in the state of New York, that's what I would do first.
Okay.
Okay. Now, on the business side, there is something called, there's two different tracks of business. You have touching the plant businesses and you have ancillary. Touching the plant is a cultivator, manufacturer, a processor. And that means the manufacturer and process means that someone that takes the plant from its natural state and turns it into a product like an edible or like a topical, something that you put on your skin or something of that nature. That makes sense?
That would be a processor.
Yes, ma'am. You got it. You got it. So your cultivator is your grower and they specialize not only in growing, but some actually do specific strains, and they really are very passionate about understanding growing. And then you have your cultivators and your processors and your manufacturers. Then you have your dispensary. So if you have anyone that says dispensary, that means retail. That means product is all packaged up. It's inside the dispensary, ready to be sold. And then some states have delivery services. And then there's also lab testing. Let me tell you guys something. If you haven't thought about it, if you want to do a business that's touching the plant and you haven't thought about it, lab testing or creating a lab testing business is something to really look into. It's less competition. You have to have specialized people that run it for you, but you can find those people, that chemists and those laboratory techs who can run it. You can do a mobile lab testing business. So think about and get creative when it comes to the business, and look at points of entry where it's not so competitive. And lab testing is not as competitive as the cultivating and the dispensary side. So Libra, the second track is called ancillary services. And ancillary is it's the businesses that don't touch the plant. It's the accountant, it's the attorney, it's the tech. People are coming up with great technology platforms
Oh man, she froze.
Yeah, Roz is at a hotel right now, so let's just sit tight.
All right.
Okay, you're back. Yeah, Roz, I think you might have to repeat yourself because you froze
Okay.
for a second.
Sorry about that. So when it comes to the ancillary business, go into Google and just type in cannabis ancillary business ideas.
Cannabis ancillary.
Yes. So it's cannabis ancillary business ideas. And when you go and look up some of those ideas, it will start getting you thinking about what I can do outside of touching the plant. Let me tell everyone that's on the call here, when you're looking at getting into business, don't get into a business that's something that you're not interested in or that you have some type of expertise in or that you have a passion for. So if you're like, you want to get into this industry and you're an accountant, then go in and figure out, do I create a product that would help an accounting need? Do I create a consulting firm that does the accounting work for these cannabis companies? But don't try to go and grow if you're an accountant or an attorney. So just think about it and be smart. Now you can invest, but when you talk about establishing your business, you want to think about things that you are already passionate about and that you already do and that you really know how to do, and then go from there.
All right, I got you. Thank you, Roz. That's a lot of good info. Thank you.
And you know what, Libra? And what you do is when you do this, do your research and then come back on the call, maybe a week or two and say, hey, Roz, I found a couple of different areas that I really am interested in. Can you give me the scoop about that? Tell me how do I get into, I really think I want to do this. And then we could talk more, okay?
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome, love.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Libra, for your question. Now we're going to have Corey White on. Hold on, Corey's muted, so let's wait for him to unmute. And while we're waiting, if anybody is sitting on, if you have a question, please raise your hand so we can let you ask your question to Roz.
Hey, Corey.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Where you located?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. All right. How's the weather right now? Good?
Not so much today. A little bit cold, a little bit rainy, but
already? I'm sorry.
Yes, but I'm from Texas originally, so.
Well, you got to come down here to Miami, man, so we can get you warmed up a little bit.
Absolutely.
So tell me your question, sir.
I'm interested in starting a line of edibles and becoming a cannabis chef. Possibly moving to a legal state if that has to be what happens. But I want information about the licensing to cook because I just started researching that, the licensing to cook and how I can kind of pitch my product to different dispensaries.
Okay, so let me make sure I heard you right. So you have a cannabis edible company, correct?
I won't say that, but
or that's where you want to. That's kind of where you think you want to go.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you like cooking? Have you tried your hand at cooking and working with edibles and oils before?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, so good. So what you got to first do is, have you incorporated your company yet?
I have a catering company, but I'm not in a legal state, so I haven't done that aspect of it.
All right. So even though you're not in a legal state, the one thing about edibles and things of that nature, if you have something, like I'm gonna tell you an idea that I came up with, and I'm not a cook, but I thought it was pretty dope. So anybody that want to take this idea and run with it, run with it. But I wanted to do an edible line that was for soul food. Like I always felt like everybody wants to, the way that our grandmothers and our mothers cook for us, and that those sweets and stuff right there, the 7-Up cake and sweet potato pie and things of that nature. I wanted to do an edible line that had something like, Canna Soul or something like that. And so basically, what you're doing is you got to think about when you're starting or thinking about wanting to do your edible company, you also think about the first thing is the branding of it. What do you want to do and what's going to make you special? What's going to make you set you apart from somebody else, these other edible companies? Because they're all making brownies, but you know what? It's something about soul food. There's something about food that you can say it came from your soul. And as a black man that may have been taught from a black mother and a black grandmother, you're authentic. And there's nothing better than authenticity when you're talking about branding your company. So what you want to do first is come up with a really just find out what your niche is going to be and what you specialize in as an edible company, and then create a name that surrounds that. And then get your. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. I think I have my niche already. I just don't know how much I can say on here due to my location. But I think I have my niche already.
And you know what? We can always do a sidebar.
Right. Thank you.
I feel you, brother. I feel you. Listen, I feel you. I understand. So we can always do a sidebar conversation, even though we have the legality. The cannabis is legal in a lot of different states. If a state that's not legal in, I definitely say protect yourself. And we can do a sidebar. What I would recommend is what Charles did for Daniel, is to send us over your email address and we'll follow up, and then we'll set up a one-on-one with me in person on a phone call and talk about your idea. But let me tell you, and for all those that are listening, what my thoughts are. Think about if it's edibles or if it's a special type of device, or maybe it's a book that you want to do or what have you. Think about how do you set yourself apart. There's so much that's out there right now, but whatever is going to make you special or different or a little spin to it, and then create a brand that's authentic to who you are, and then create your LLC. Spend that $125 or $175 or whatever that is, purchase the name of your company, purchase your domain name, so you can breathe life into your idea. Wix.com, Wix.com, as well as GoDaddy, and then there's some other different sites out there. You can buy your domain name, and you can go and start and create a website, and truly start breathing life into your concept. When it comes to licensing, and when it comes to you want the dispensaries to purchase your product, what ends up happening is one or two things. Like in California, there's distributors. Distributors, basically, they get wind of your product, they put it in their distribution network, and then when they go to the dispensaries, they say, hey, you really need to try this particular product. This is manufactured by X, Y, and Z. And basically, you are pushing to get your product in their lineup of products.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, guys. Hold on one second.
And while we're all waiting for Roz, just remember, if you've got a question to ask, please raise your hand. And when you raise your hand, we'll know that you're ready to ask a question.
Okay, I'm back, guys. Sorry about that. So, like I said, in California, it's a distribution network that you do it. And in some states, you're just you can get a manufacturer and processing license, and you can go to the dispensaries and just say, hey, listen, would you like to have, it's already packaged up, would you like to have our product in your dispensary? In some states, like in Florida, you get a license to process, but you can't outsource it. So that means I have the license, you have the edible company, you have the product. I can't come to you and say, hey, Corey, I want to buy 25 brownies, 50 of this. What has to happen is, I'm sorry, guys, 1 second.
It's okay. Real life happens.
Sorry about that. So what has to happen is, if you're in a state like Florida, where it all depends on what the legislation says, but in Florida, if I have the license, I have to do a licensing agreement with you. And that means I have to basically have you say, listen, I want to basically go into business with me. We have an agreement that we're going to utilize your recipe, and I have to make it in-house under my business and under my roof. And you almost have to be like an employee of the company, and then you revenue share on the amount of goods that are sold, if that makes sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense.
I want you guys to also think of something. The Canadian companies are going to Jamaica. Why they're going to Jamaica, and we have a chapter in Jamaica now, It's because they're able to, in Jamaica, when they're manufacturing products or when they're growing over there, they're wanting to license. They are wanting to go and make sure that not only do they cultivate over there, but they're looking at forming licensing agreements where they say, hey, listen, we like your product line. We want you to have your product line and we want to white label it. We want to pay you X amount of dollars for your product and we're going to put a new label on it with our brand. So these are some things. So when you're doing your research about your company, look up cannabis licensing agreements, look up cannabis edible licensing agreements. Get your company get your company created in Wisconsin, or if you're in Texas or wherever you are. Think about, the name of your company, buy your domain name, and start your website. And then your website doesn't have to show pictures of anything. It could, again, it could just give a little highlight of what's to come.
Okay. I definitely
Did I answer
need
your
that.
question good for you? And I apologize about the background noise, guys. I'm in Miami at my hotel.
No, it's fine. Real life happens, so there's nothing we can do about that. But you gave me a lot of good information.
Thank you.
A lot of great information. I definitely need that sidebar conversation, though. I definitely need that.
Yeah,
Say
so
it one more
Corey.
time.
So
I
Corey.
said I definitely need the sidebar conversation. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely, Corey. So if you want to, in the chat, give us your information with your email and everything. I will make sure Roz gets that, and she'll try her best to send an email and be in touch.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
I promise. I'll reach out to you and we'll circle back around and you can, bounce your idea off me and I can give you some more direction.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I'm putting my email in the chat right now.
You're welcome, sir.
Great. Okay, anyone else who's on, if you have a question for Roz, feel free to raise your hand so we know. Trying to see, I saw someone with their hand up, but they lowered it. So yeah.
And you're able to also type in your questions. So if you have something you want to
we
type.
do have. Yeah, we do have. Oh, someone just gave us the email, so that's fine. Yeah. So while we're there, why don't you talk a little bit, while we're waiting for people with questions, why don't you tell us, what's exciting about the show in Miami? 2 weekends or 2 days this weekend? What's hot?
Well, again, it's an opportunity for those people that are interested in the industry or who are already in the industry. This is your chance to really come and soak it all up. There's a conference that will happen in Nevada. It's the largest one. It's called the Marijuana Biz Conference. Now, if you want to get overwhelmed and you want to see a whole bunch of information and everything that you want to see about cannabis under one roof, it happens in November in Las Vegas. It's the Marijuana Biz Conference. It's huge. So much so that I've never been. I've heard only about it because I felt like it was just too overwhelming for me when I first started out to go to something like that. But if you are in the Vegas area, that's something that you might want to be interested in learning more information about.
Well, but I'm sure Florida's. I mean, right now, isn't there legalization occurring? Is Florida legal?
Well, legalization is happening. So let's talk about where there's some legalization happening. New Jersey right now has their application open. It ends August 31st. They have something called a vertical licensing process that's going on right now. Their process is going to be, they're going to be giving out a license to 6 license holders throughout the state of New Jersey. These license holders will be able to cultivate, manufacture, process, as well as dispense. And so there has been a lot of infighting. I don't want to say infighting, but just a lot of people really want to get into the New Jersey market because it can service, a lot of the upper, that New York tri-county area, tri-state area up there. And so there's been a lot of folks, there's a lot of interest. There's a lot of groups that are working together. I will tell you this, that a part of the application, it says that you have to write a diversity plan that you have to talk about how you're going to do workforce development if you get a license. How are you going to contract with suppliers, with diverse suppliers? If you are a general contractor, or if you're an architect, or if you're an engineer, or if you are a consultant, you're a writer, if you provide community education, if you're a social worker, these are things that these companies are going to be looking for if if they get a license or if they're going after a license, because they have to articulate how they're going to outsource some of their business to people that look like us, to our businesses. You just have to get yourself, educated and get to a point where you know about the industry and know about the plant. I mean, if you're on here right now and you don't know about the endocannabinoid system, if you've never heard that word before, then there has to be resources that we can provide you. And Charles, what I think we should do is a couple of just some self-tutorial links about the plant from a medical standpoint, about the endocannabinoid system, about the different strains, about CBD, CBN, CBG. These are all different molecules of the plant, and they do different things when you process them together. You need to know what an isolate is. So for those who are just interested in investing, I get it. But if you really want to get into the industry, then those are the type of things where you have to really, on your downtime, start educating yourself about it and figuring out exactly what's going on, and maybe having some links that you can do your own self-tutorial.
Yeah, one thing to add on that, in the masterclass that Deshita gave, she does a probably hour to hour and a half deep dive into, she calls it real science versus bro science. And she dives into, the science of the endocannabinoid system. She, all those big words that you said that I can't even pronounce, she's just rattling all that stuff. And it's interesting with Deshita too. I'm not saying, she's actually got a very strong medical background. After the presentation, I said, Deshita, how do you know all this stuff? And she told me she was in med school. And I was like, okay, that explains it, right?
Yeah.
She's a smart lady.
Smart.
So if there's anyone who I felt just takes a very complex topic with, hard to pronounce words and very complex topics, and really breaks it down so that, the normal person, someone like me, or, someone who doesn't have a medical degree or a scientific background, I mean, Deshita does a great job of that. It is, I think, session 2 or session 3 of her masterclass. I don't remember about that. But yeah, no, I mean, when I heard all that, that blew my mind. Because here I was thinking it's just a bunch of people getting high. And then I learned there was this actually system, right? A system in our body called the endocannabinoid system that actually keeps us running. I mean, like, it's a critical thing. And we've just forgotten about it over the last 50 years, we had to rediscover it 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Right.
On that front.
Right.
Great. Oh,
well, you got to think about this, that you have, as a community, when we were growing up, and I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up, we were told that this was a bad for you, that it would make you, all the stigmas that are attached to our community. And I didn't realize that, we have our own urban PTSD. We have our own trauma that people that reside in our community, that they're dealing with the stresses of life and not realizing that when someone is intaking cannabis, it maybe wasn't just to say, hey, I'm doing something illegal, or just to be bumming around. They were really self-medicating themselves. And self-medication, and once you understand about the endocannabinoid system and about those receptors, and understand why, if you've been self-medicating all these years, it makes sense, and it makes you go, wow, okay, now I understand. And I'm someone who was not a consumer. I'm still not a consumer, but one thing I did was it made me really become more open and tolerant, and just understanding why, some.
It looks like Roz is, hopefully, she just locked up for a second. Okay, guys, let's just sit tight while Roz reconnects. Sorry for the connection problem. We have to be appreciative. Oh, okay, you're back.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's fine. We're appreciative that, you're donating your time and taking the time to answer these questions, because you are definitely a wealth of knowledge. And I'd imagine if I were to hire you to answer a question, you wouldn't be cheap. So.
No, but this is my give back. I mean, this is something that the thing about this industry and about what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that we see the train that's coming down the track. And a lot of times in our community, we see the train coming down the track, but we want to ignore it and want to kind of almost figure out or say in our mind it's not coming, but it's coming. Legalization is going to happen at a federal level within the next 3 to 5 years, I believe. And with that being said, a lot of the opportunities that you have now to really participate in your state where you live and create some type of business and create some traction in your state, it'll be gone. Because once federal legalization happens, then that's when the big pharma companies, the Walmarts of dispensaries, those individuals come in and they swoop in because they have capital. And economy of scale says, well, if I did it here in one state, I can do it in this state, and I can do it cheaper and quicker and more efficient. And then we get displaced out of the marketplace. So I want to really challenge you, if you're interested in the industry, if you're trying to get traction, I mean, for Dr. Boyce and Charles and the Jarvis Project, with their focus on this industry right now, take advantage of it. These master classes, this Sheeta is freaking awesome. She's my strategic officer with the organization as well. I've known Sheeta for almost 2.5 years, and we've been going down this road for many days and many months, knowing that we see what's coming down the tracks. So, anyways, Libra, I see you got your hand up, my darling.
Hi again. I just wanted to know, are you familiar with the legalization here in New York?
Familiar with the legalization where now?
In New York, where I am.
So in regards to the details of it, no, because let me tell you something. I use Google just like you do when I need to get in there and get going. But let me tell you what's going about New York that'll just kind of give you some ideas of what I think is coming down the pipeline. I think your governor is going to actually, he actually established a workforce, a task force to look at legalization from a recreational standpoint for the state of New York. And he did that earlier in August, the early part of August. The one thing we have to do is we have to make sure that if they legalize on a recreational basis, and that means adult use for the state of New York, that means that, do you guys realize there's tax money that they're going to tax you for legalization? And we want to make sure that tax money goes back into some of our, at-risk communities for youth prevention, for support, for education, things of that nature. Because I will tell you, like in Denver, in 2017, Denver, tax-wise, did almost $38 million in tax. And so the goal of the tax money was supposed to be used to go back into the community and go back for more, education, prevention things, or what have you. But what ends up happening, it doesn't touch our community. And so that means that those people that are on this call, let's say, for example, if you are an outreach educator or something of that nature, and if you want to go after a contract to do it in your community where you live, if those dollars are not pushed back down to our community or given access to us, we don't get that chance to. So I will tell you this, that New York is looking, again, to legalize from a adult use basis. I do believe in 2019 is going to happen. Currently, right now, your medical program is slow. You guys have maybe 50,000 individuals on the program that are certified, that have a medical marijuana card. And it was because they didn't, just the rollout of the program was poor. It didn't go as they planned. They didn't have a lot of marketing and education to the residents of New York, and it just didn't take traction. And so that's why they're looking at just going ahead and legalizing from an adult use and revamping the medical side.
All right, I got you. Okay.
But I will tell you, but do me a favor, if you want to know about just right now what the program consists of, the program is held under the Department of Health for New York. So if you Google New York Department of Health.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with the department.
Yes, ma'am.
New York Department of Health.
And that's where the program sits inside there. I actually sat down and talked to the Department of Health program manager for that, and he was it was a good conversation. So they're looking at ways to do a better job of educating the community as well.
Yeah, but that, like you said, that department is kind of slow.
I know it. Well, let me tell you something. That's where we as an organization, so I got to put a plug in for M4MM and what we do. That's when we get active and that we go and engage, because we're that nonprofit social advocacy outreach. And so when you are trying to get information from the department or you're not able to get traction, that's why we have a chapter president in New York. Her name is Mary Pryor, Mary, M-A-R-Y Pryor. She goes in and she'll make that phone call. She'll go to the department office and she will ask that question for you and try to get that answer.
Okay.
If you guys are listening to me, go ahead.
How would I be able to contact her if needed?
What you want to do is our email. Our email is m4mmunited@gmail.com. That's M as in Mary, the number 4, M as in Mary, M as in Mary, united@gmail.com. My number is 877-900-0832. 877-900-0832. And our website is m4mmunited.org. And you can send us an email, you can send us a contact, and we'll put you in contact with Mary. The states that we're in right now, I'm gonna see if I can name them. We have Oklahoma, we have Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, California, Colorado, Illinois, Michigan, Louisiana, of course, Florida, Nevada, Arizona. We have the New England region, which consists of Boston and Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, and of course we have Jamaica now. So if you reside in any of those states and you need more hands-on, let me tell you something. Take advantage of these master courses of what's being offered to you. And then when it comes to the practicality of now, I'm in my state or I'm in my city, I need some help, navigating through what's my next steps. That's when you can call M4MM and we can help you with that. Okay. That's our goal, is to get these, we want to get you turned on and get you connected so that you can really figure out how to get in there and start your business, or how to get your questions answered, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I'm currently in the Black Business School, the Canna Investing 101 course. I just joined that, but
good.
That's the investing side of it. But
right,
I just want to get myself ready, educate myself, do whatever research I need to do, find out whatever I need to find out in case I want to go outside of that.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing, Libra, you have to do is, I don't know what area I don't know where your specialty or what you do right now, where your passion is. I don't know if you're
my specialty is in tech right now, but the support side of it.
Hold on, did we lose Roz for a second?
Yeah, she froze.
Okay, no worries. While we wait for Roz to get back, Libra, welcome to the class and thanks for joining. In 2 weeks, I think there's a broadcast by Deshita on how to enter the cannabis industry. And she, I'm just gonna be upfront. It's a marathon session because Deshita literally goes into every nook and cranny of everything you can be in the cannabis industry, from a travel agent to a scientist to a tech person to a co-packer to a packaging expert and so forth. But that is part of the class. And I know if you're new, you might be browsing through the class and see there's so much stuff and there's so much information. But the good news is there is a 6 to 8 week syllabus where we have a broadcast, and then there's always a TA on hand if Deshita can't make it to answer questions, or the expert can't answer questions. So that should definitely help you get the foundation so that when you start talking to people like Roz and so forth, that should be good. Roz, are you back now, or?
Hello?
Yeah, it looks like you're back. Yeah, it looks like you're back.
So what I was going to tell you was, you could actually have a staffing company of one to start out with, and that you do support services from a technical standpoint. So there may be, you could do a consulting firm that you do cannabis tech support. And what you do is you just lay out whatever you're doing right now in your professional 9 to 5. Those are the different services that you can do for a cannabis company. Because the same thing that they're having to you deal with from a regular business, the cannabis business is dealing with the same thing. But you create your flyer, you create your company, you identify the 3 or 4 different services that you want to offer, and then you make that phone call and you introduce yourself. And you say that one thing I tell our members, tell them that you're a member of Minorities for Medical Marijuana. Because if they go Google our organization, if they go pull up all of the content and things that we're doing, and if they see where we are state by state, they know that, man, this lady is a member of a strong organization, and let's listen out. You know, we want to listen to her. We want to see what she has to say. Maybe she has a service that we can bring on. We want to have more diversity. And so you tell them, say, listen, I'm a member of Minorities for Medical Marijuana. This is my business. I would like to share with you a little bit of information about it. And I'd like to see if there's an opportunity for us to do business together. You have to go just like that and put it out there of what you want to do. And you may get turned down a couple of times, but you'd be surprised that once you start knocking on those doors will turn. The most important thing is you have to use the information that you're receiving from Dashida, from myself, or what have you, but then you have to put it into practice. And we can't do that for you. That's where you come in, and you have to kind of step out there and kind of pull up your bootstraps and say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna step out here, and I'm okay if I don't succeed the first couple of times. I'm fine with it. I need to figure this stuff out. Okay.
All right. Okay. I got it. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Libra.
Great. It looks like we probably have time for one more question. So Dorothy Baker is going to raise her hand again. So we'll have her on. So final question, Dorothy. Why don't you take it from here, Roz?
Yep. Hey, Dorothy.
Yes, I was just interested in Alabama, the state of Alabama, as to how we can get organized with become a part of your organization.
So if you go to m4mmunited.org, so M as in Mary, the number 4, M as in Mary, united.org, and then go click on our member. And then if you go down there, our membership is $100 for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's wait for a second. Looks like Roz froze up.
Yeah, I need that address again.
Sorry,
Roz, you froze up. So if you want,
okay,
if you want it, yeah.
Sorry. So the website is m4mmunited.org.
m4mmunited.org.
Yeah, looks yes, that's the case. And you know what we'll do? I'll follow up with Roz, and we'll send an email out to all members that are in the class about that link and everything. So you can have that, Dorothy, and anyone who else is interested. We'll get that sent out. So yeah, great. Hold on, let's wait for Roz to maybe come back on for a second.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
And so I want to so yeah, we will get you the information out there. It's $100 for the year to be a member. We do member highlight we do a member of the week. We put your logo and business link on our website to push you out there. If you have a product, we're going to start a marketplace for the M4MM marketplace that we showcase these products so that people can buy them. So our goal is to help you and support you and wherever you are, whatever state that you're in, and help push you to the next level. So I definitely want to encourage you to get connected and be a part of us. There's several organizations out there, but of course I think that M4MM is the best in regards to an advocacy organization. So, you know, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And I want to give a shout out. We have our National Director of Public Policy on the line. I see her, Cass Odom. Thank you, Cass, for coming on. M4MM is like a big family. We support one another. I have almost 28 people that report to me that is on my leadership team and 7 people on our executive team. And they're in your states. They're in Michigan, they're in Missouri, they're in Illinois, and they're working their butts off to make sure that we have a fair chance and a fair opportunity. And so I just want to give these folks a shout out and let them know that without them, this organization would be nothing. And so Cass, thanks so much for joining in today.
Well, we actually had Cass raise her, I don't know if it's her hand. Let's say hi.
Hi, I just wanted to thank Roz. She always gives so much of her time and effort to make sure that that the community is informed, that we're aware, and that we are engaged in expanding our efforts in this industry. And I want everyone out there to I want to encourage you to join Minorities for Medical Marijuana. I've been in this fight for years. I've survived 2 spinal fusion surgeries, MRSA, cancer, mental illness, and MS has impacted my family tremendously. And this fight is very personal for me. And I just want to say that M4MM has definitely been a home for me, for my efforts. And I want everyone on this call to understand that joining an organization like M4MM, if you ever want to really engage and be intentional with what you want to do in this industry and in the cannabis space, there's no better place for you. So thank you, Roz. I really appreciate everything you do.
I appreciate you so much.
Mhm.
Cass is she didn't tell you what she does, but she is freaking the public policy guru responsible for research projects that we're going to be looking at from a national and a global basis. And so she's a part of our executive team, and we just appreciate her. And let me tell you something, I don't pay any of these folks. They do it out of we're not around here balling. Like, they do it just because they're passionate about the industry, about the plant, and about this organization. So moderate this webinar is pretty awesome.
Great. Well, I think it's about time to wrap up. We've been on for actually, wow, already an hour. Time just flew. Do you have any kind of final closing thoughts, Roz, or anything before we sign off?
No, I want to encourage you guys to just be intentional. If you are on this call right now and you didn't say anything, it's okay. Come back next week. Come back the following week. When you have something that you have a question that you want to get answered, I may not know everything. I may not have all the direct answers for you, but whatever we don't have for you, we will get it for you. And just know that you have a great home with the Black Business School, and make sure you utilize all of the resources they're making available for you. And I'm very appreciative of them seeing the value that we can bring to all of the other resources they're providing you. So I thank you all. Have a great weekend. If you're in South Florida and you didn't raise your hand and you want to come to the Cannabis Conference, I got a couple more comp tickets. Get in contact with us and we'll make sure you get in there, no charge. And if there's other conferences, if you want to know about the other conferences that are coming up, go to our event page on the website and then let us know, and we'll see if we can get you a ticket in there so that you can experience what goes on in these conferences. So thank you so much, guys.
Alrighty, thanks a lot. And we'll see you again next Friday. Talk to you soon, Roz.
Next Friday. All right,
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.